you all read the program of the conference, so that's why I think there's no need to read all about Petar, which is written in the program anyway. He has a very impressive CV, though, and therefore, if you haven't read it, I really recommend it. Currently, he is Principal Research Fellow at the University of Belgrade. About 10 years ago, or 11 years ago in Germany, there was a huge discussion about hostis injustus. And now, I think it has become very important for us to discuss this again. And so please, Petar,
thank you.
Feel free to start.
Thank you very much. And thank you first, Hector, who started with this subject. I will just improvise and try to open this institution. I think it's. I said here that I have not yet good argument for this, and then I feel like I have been doing one and the same thing for over 20 years, because this I found in my thesis, and all the time I'm doing this about what does it mean unjust enemy or hostis injustus. Well, we can start very easy with Hamas. For example, we saw the problem. This could be this one group, not dispersed group, we can say, involved in different groups. And I think we have a consensus that this is hostis injustus on one way or another. Well, I think that we have not the problem to say that it's necessary to destroy this group. We have problems with different, for example, with civilians, with collateral damages, with destructions, etc. But I think we have not. We can accept this argument that it will be good to destroy the group. Now, in foreign policy, I think from last one or one before last one, you have one text about the Hamas, about the group, and the author justifies theory that it's not necessary to destroy by force this group. It will be good just to leave this group to destroy itself. And this is also very good argument why the group like this can destroy during the time itself. Several arguments with, well, this is also. Okay, second, in Germany, 25 years, Serbia was on one way or another unjust enemy, and I remember the text, Habermas' text about Kant in this context, and I think that was a justified operation, bombing the cities. There are damages different, but the result of this bombing was to stop violence of Milosevic, violence of this government. A very good example, because in that time we have on one way or another this Kantian situation that we have a consensus of different players in a international scene or international law, and they are accepting to be all against one. I think this is this moment, all against one. That could be my argument. All against one. Behind this is Kant. Behind this is Kelsen. To promote the argument all against one, consensus of all against one, who is unjust enemy, is justified. Well, that's it. you have different extreme, you have Taliban, you have terrorists, but we can say that how the war criminal, the unjust enemy, the criminal unjust enemy, the freedom fighter who is also a criminal, the unblemished freedom fighter, the subversive, the terrorist, you have many names. And all these names, or all these agents are producing wrongful acts, bad acts, evil acts, etc. How to recognize what does it mean? First of all, Kant is, appropriating, compiling, commenting on various jurists who came before him. That means there is nothing original in Kant. This is nothing. Plus, we can say Schmidt, this is nothing original. We can find everything before then. It's very easy to check the books in Kantian libraries. He had everything, but we can find not just this institute, the Hostis in Justus, we can find in Gentili, and we can find in Achenwald, in Petar, in Wolf, in Vattel. Well, the same. Gentili is more interesting. He was first. You can find in Grotius. The same thing. I was working in Düsseldorf in archive, in Schmidt's archive. I saw because in archive you can find Nomos as a manuscript, Nomos as a book, how he worked, how he checked etymology in different languages, and how he was preparing to write about Hostis in Justus. This is ask Copilot or GPT, and you will see what you get. This is, Kant is nothing comparing to the other people, and he is not. When he's analyzing Achenwald, he's directly borrowing from Achenwald in Petar. Clearly, many of these sentences or arguments. He's combining. He's compilator in this. Nothing original. Then, what's important? Why all of this? Because I'd like to see in this institution something more. Okay, we have one. Hector didn't say this in this enormous paragraph. Schmidt. It's interesting that Schmidt insists to ask. He's asking all the time, who is the unjust enemy in concreto? Several times, in concreto. Who is? It's very easy to find who is in concreto unjust enemy for Kant. Poland and Turkey. You can find in anthropology manuscript that for him Poland is imagine Kant today and see Poland. He will be crazy. He will be go back immediately. Poland, why Poland? Because in Poland, for him, there is no middle class. In Poland, they are, he said, incapable to make constitution, incapable to be state. And that's why it will be great to destroy Poland. This is unjust enemy for him, and Turkey, because Turkey is, against Europe, etc. This is in concreto. Well, in Vattel, you have the same sentences. What does it mean in Justus, Hostis in Justus? In Vattel, he's also counting many possibilities, etc. That means we can say that Kant is realist. Kant is not, this is real, very good institution, I think, very, with huge capacity for peace. I think I will go completely against Carl Schmitt. I don't care for for me, enemy is stupid term. Enemy doesn't exist. Today exists only unjust enemy. Well, enemy, no. In that sense, you know, what does it mean? Enmity between, I don't know, France and Germany. You know, nothing, stupid. Then, okay, when you see the argument of the conference, you see at the beginning war and peace, but in argument you have just description of the peace, no war. Well, but I think, okay, war is more interesting in Kant, because for us it's interesting to follow Vorlesungen, to follow lectures, and to see how he's arranging argument about this, and not just about this. Okay, for him, most important is jus preventionis, preventive war, preemptive attack. This is important, very, very beautiful argument. We can see easily Bush. We remember all this fight against terrorism, and well, okay. Anyway, if you why. In that case, I can say that this small piece about peace in Kant is just some kind of interlude or intermezzo. This is practically nothing, because he gave lectures about war before and after. He's justifying preemptive attack or preventive war. He's justifying, this is more important, when he said, for example, that war is as such always present, but the peace, you have to institutionalize peace, gestiftet werden. This gestiftet, you know, Kant belongs to this huge tradition that you need the violence to do something, you know. He believes that it's necessarily you have to have aggression and violence to transform the violence in right or in justice or in law. You can find this. I have here, for example, he said, dass ohne Gewalt kein Recht gestiftet werden kann. So muss dem Recht Gewalt vorausgehen, stattdessen der Regel, etc., etc. This is gestiftet. How if you are checking the word this, you will see that this is not just gestiftet werden. That doesn't mean just to guarantee. You know, in English is guarantee, to give some guarantee to not to do something institutional. How to institutional peace? But you need to do something more. Plus, this is also very important. Behind, if you check Vorlesungen after the peace text, they are in the same. In the same time, he got the book from Hufeland about diet, about how to prolong the life, and he's using. This is the same story with the Hegel. Hegel has his Hahnemann, and Kant has his Hufeland. Hufeland means helped Kant to justify idea of vaccination. You can find this in Streit of Faculty, and in Hegel's story, homeopathy. Hahnemann, you can very easy understand homeopathy strategy in Hegel, that, for example, government, I don't know, ordered the war to organize, to unify the body, destroyed body of the government by liberalism, etc., etc. That means if we can see what does it mean vaccination, or we understand it means to do something. How to say? Not, for example, his example was: should I drink the tea, who is a very bad taste, and this is some kind of violence to rebuild my organism, etc. And his answer is yes. That's why that means this is how to use, which kind of doses of violence you need to produce something good. Well, that's his logic behind. You know, this is like this. And the second, okay, how to understand this and not to follow Schmitt, because to follow Schmitt is nothing. You know, follow Schmitt and to celebrate the word enemy, to celebrate the war, to celebrate the harmonization of the states. I'm not sure that this is good. How to protect this institute of Hostis in Justus? Well, that will be. You know, today we are using, all of us, we are using drone. Drones are instruments to destroy something. If we destroy the drone, there's nothing. Drone is nothing. You know, drone is just instrument for destruction. That means destruction is, how to say, justified in one way or another. Well. The future of the war is to produce effective destruction. Well, that's why it's not. I'm not. Well, I'm not. This is how to now understand. Well, this you can see this. There are several. Paragraphs, but at the end, below, you can find this most important: Jus belli contra hostem injustum est infinitum. Well, what he's doing? He's first of all, okay. This is at the beginning up. He's differentiating erste Aggression and erste Hostilität. Means that sometimes you have a right, or it is justified to attack somebody who wants to kill you. Well, and that's why this is erste Hostilität is justified. This is not always unjustified. Well, his example is okay. You see this jus preventionis, and at the end of this fragment, the problem is in this word balance of power among all states. In the paragraph 54, 54 paragraph is interesting because you can, in that paragraph, we had some. I will quote. We are remembering many problems with one word. The paragraph is like this: a League of Nations, in accordance with the idea of an original social contract, is necessarily not in order to meddle in one another's internal dissensions, but to protect against attacks from without. Aber doch gegen Angriffe der äußeren zu schützen. Problem is the word without. That means why he needs hostis in justus generally, because he need balance, and he need well, I think that's the, you know, Hector, you didn't answer to Professor Kobe when he asked you why he need hostis in justus. He need hostis in justus to arrange something, to arrange, I think, Kobe, to arrange some kind of unity. Hostis in justus is here just to arrange peace, just to arrange. We have to find who is unjust here in a whole, everywhere, because, you know, this is civil society work. We are policemen. We are trying to recognize who is producing here bad acts, well, or evil acts, and we have to destroy that person, or I don't know, agent. Well, that's the deal, I think, and this is how to say, contemporary exists. We are here. We have not the other solution. We have no better solution than this, I think, today. He said, but to protect against attacks from without. And you have behind, when, for example, you have in manuscript, we have a problem. Why he said without? From whom without? Who is without? Because if all of us are together, why he put here existence of something without, if we are all already present here? And in Natorp, for example, when he read the manuscript, he said this is mistake, and this is, I don't know, to protect against attacks from without. What is the outside? He said people. Natorp, Forlanger said to protect from enemies without. But how is it possible without? Well, we are producing all the time without or outside of us. Outside is the place for the appearance of this injustus. Yeah. Okay, that's why I think it's necessary to forget this Schmidt critique, because we have not today ni wars of prestige, ni wars of choice, ni colonial wars. If you check, this is the answer when you asked about colonial wars. You probably remember in Russell. Russell said exactly. Russell in a text, Ethics of War. He said that colonial wars are justified. Well, this is for him. He made classification of four kind of war, and first of all, colonial are only justified. Well, but he said this is all timers. Okay, that means it's necessary to forget the Schmidt, forget the term enemy, forget because now if, okay, the latent existence of the unjust enemy in international and actual power relations becomes the only remaining capacity of justifying war, and thus the existence of just wars in general. This is of course true in the case of just wars based on unjust enemies, and not the enemy as such. I think we are trying today to recognize only unjust enemy, not enemy. Plus, we have, well, this is huge heritage of Kant, because attacks war are forbidden. If attacks war are forbidden, we don't care for enemy. We don't care for erste Angreifer or aggressor. This is nothing. Well, at the end is Vattel. Vattel in concrete, Vattel said this is monster for unjust enemy. Monster. You can find monster, but you know, Carl Schmitt has four versions of 4 or 5 versions of Critique de Politique, but in second one, he said that this mad dog, he said, the opponent is no longer referred to as the enemy. The Gegner heißt nicht mehr Feind, but rather is approached as a criminal, as Verbrecher, as a mad dog, that who is justified to destroy it. Well, mad dog is a never you could not find this these characteristics in this Nazi version in 33 or version is 32. Vattel, who is then for Vattel in that this is 1758. He said that this is he said that the just a second. You remember why in Justus Hostis? You know, this is Cicero, pirates. You know, from pirates, because pirate, we can say that pirate has capacity to unify the ancient world. Well, because pirates, okay, they are group, not state, dispersive group, and appearance of this institution of pirate in Grotius or in others is has potential to make the world together, to put the states together, because they have hostis in Justus. Well, homo sacer, yeah, this is the same harem in Israel institution. Who's host? You know, you have a jump from communis hostis hominium to hostis humani generis. Okay, in Vattel, this is not the humans. This is the indigne du nom d'homme, so means they are not human. In Justus, that's it's possible monster. Plus, they are not public enemies. This is important here in Kant, because in Justus, enemy is doing something secretly. Hamas. Well, then they, for Kant, do you remember this group of confederati? It's impossible to organize bad group of people, the people on bad, how to say, grounds. That means it is impossible. The hostis in Justus are not capable to se réunir, to make some kind of group, exact group. That's why Hamas is not a group. This is this bad name for and for Vattel, who made war only for the pleasure of make it, pour le plaisir de le faire. They are not doing they have no goal. Well, qui font la guerre par goût, and not from love to their country. That's it. They have not country. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Petar. If you allow me, I would like to ask you one question. You've mentioned that preventive war is justified by Kant, and I would like to ask you, does he not have a point? if you just think of 1938, for example.
You know, you see here the argument. Argument is simple. First, he said that is not allowed to. It's I can't. I can't go to war against anyone who appears to seek to injure me. I have to wait. You know, I have to wait. This is fragment before. If you want to kill me, first of all, first he said at the beginning, I have to wait that you manifest your. But then he said immediately after this Zurüstung, if I am recognizing that you are preparing to do something against me, I have a right of prevention, das Recht des Zuvorkommens, to use Präventionis. Okay, nothing original. This is also you have everywhere in public law. I have immediately right to, because this is potentia tremenda, I have a right to how to say, to prevent you. There is one text after the Bush, after the 11th September, the text of Hilary Putnam. Hilary Putnam wrote about does this war is justified or not. He said no, it's not justified because you have to do something. Who knows if you will kill me or not? You have to manifest this, and that's why. But for Kant, absolutely different. And I think, this is. I don't know how to justify better Kant than he justifies himself. You know, I think that this is, we are doing this all the time in our life. You know, we are.
Okay. Thank you very much for this very interesting presentation. I would like to ask somewhat, I don't know, a question of going into some detail in the imagination here. Let's suppose that indeed the question of who constitutes a just enemy has been settled. And let's suppose that we know what is to be done, namely to destroy it, as you suggested. What does that amount to makes a huge difference? You gave the example of Hamas. Even in Netanyahu's extreme right-wing government, you have people admitting that there's a huge difference between dismantling the military capacities of said organization and between destroying an idea, which is a very abstract thing and is hard to imagine happening without destroying all the peoples who have affinities with the idea. And so if we do not go into some basic measures of dismantling this idea of what destroying a just enemy means, it seems that collateral damage would be the understatement of the century in terms of what it would entail in practice. Since any unjust enemy, because of the very nature of the accusation, would have to have an ideological component, right? There's something wrong about said group. Ideologically, there's some evil that is entailed. The potential for limitless annihilation is deeply ingrained in that notion unless we take very serious steps, not only in thought, but also in practice, to dismantle what that destruction entails. So I would very much like to hear your thoughts about how to sort of take that apart.
I will say, because we are talking about now, we are combining reality, we are combining idea arguments, we are combining justification, etc. We are in, well, in, how to say, not in good position. First of all, Kant borrowed idea of all against one from Friedrich Grosse. In Friedrich Grosse, he wrote this in French. He has some small tractatus about this idea. This is beautiful idea to produce some kind of unification and recognized who is against, potentially recognized who is against. You know, we are searching who is like kids. You know, we are searching. We are put some trap to kids to see what's happened. Well, okay, this is one thing. Second thing, destruction. If you check. Because I'm doing this. I'm now in the Neue Institute, in the new institute in Hamburg. I have a project about victory, and I'm checking and comparing codexes of war, of ethics of war in Israeli army, and it's very easy to find how to understand what does it mean, the victory, how many targets you have to destroy to name this as a victory, etc., etc. That means Netanyahu is one thing, and Netanyahu, you know, how to say, contaminate military army in Israel are more, how to say, prudent when they are doing violence than politicians, etc., etc. I'm not talking about this. I'm not stupid, you know. Forget Netanyahu, forget politicians. I'm talking that it's possible to understand, it's clear what does it mean destroy. What you can destroy, how you can destroy, etc., etc. This is one thing. Second thing, today, imagine 10 years ago, our capacity to destroy something was much more worse than today. Imagine that in 10 years, it will be much more easier to isolate and recognize the target and destroy. If we are, you know, history of ethics of war is history of when you have permission to kill and how you can kill. Well, that's it. We are talking real things. Well, if we are talking real things, then we have to understand, and I understand what you are saying, but, well, from military perspective, it's already, how to say, done, exist on the paper, but we have crazy politicians, we have stupid people, we have, well, and the answer could be the same, you know, soldier in Slovenia or in everywhere, in United States or in Israel, has much more possibility to, policemen in all this country has much more possibility to use violence than soldier. Soldier is completely restricted. That means military sector is very, very, how to say, arranged not to do stupidity. Well, this is my opinion. Well.
Yeah, thank you. That was super interesting. I want to ask again about the difference between an enemy and an unjust enemy. So I've been working about that with my colleague Martin Sticker recently, who has developed the notion of a mere enemy. And a mere enemy would be someone who is nothing but an enemy. And that you also quoted Agamben, So someone who is then falling completely out of legal protection, reduced to nothing but the enemy. And I'm not sure whether this is the case with the unjust enemy, since then in legal theory, attempts like enemy criminal law seem to lie exactly in between, because then people within enemy criminal law, they have a lesser status, so not as civilians, but as enemies. But then the people who bring that forward, like German lawyer Günther Jacobs, they would argue that they have still a legal status. And then there would be, like, maybe you meant that simple enemies, so to whom applies all the international law. So, for example, that they cannot be tortured, that this is forbidden, and the Geneva Convention and all this kind of stuff. And then, so last question, do you think that Kant is here again part of the problem or part of the solution?
Thank you very much. I think that we can forget this injustus hostis and put just enemy on this place. And we will solve, we will solve the problem. Forget this institution of injustus. Just put the enemy. Because when we are talking about enemy, you remember enemy, foe in English. That's how they translated Carl Schmitt. We are depending on Schmitt distinction. That's why I said that maybe we can forget this injustus hostis, just put hostis, and we have, everything is clear in that case. Why differentiate enemy? If we have enemy, well, it's possible to, there is one good formulation in Husserl, who is find. Find is somebody who wants to destroy, and that's it. This is enemy. I'm not choosing my enemy. Enemy chooses me. Yeah. This is that's why I remember this. This is also he will not permit me to forget his aggression, etc., because he won't. Well, in that case, yes. In that case, I think. Well, if we make some kind of cosmetics with this institution of Kant, we can help Kant to. We can promote this institution as a positive. I'm not sure that today we are not living in a Carl Schmitt dreams or Carl Schmitt, I don't know, real world, etc., etc. Well, we have completely different problems. Not our problems are not the other states. Our problems are not generally, at the end, not migrants, strangers. Our problems are just terrorists, we can say, or people who wants to do something improper. Well, in that case, I think Kant is. Today I will protect or justify this idea of unjust enemy. Well, beautiful idea, I think.
Thank you.
We have time for one more question.
May I? Yes. Okay. Thank you, Petar Bojanić. I'm a little bit confused with your final remark, because I don't know whether you still keep insisting on the concept of unjust enemy, or you would like to get rid of it and introduce just the notion of enemy. But I will come to that later on. First, I would like to, support the idea that yes, Kant was not a pacifist; he was a realist. He basically was not against the wars as such, and he even in certain places described said that there is something sublime in a war, provided it is done properly, something like that. And perhaps this, provided it is done properly, is very important for him, because why the war for him is in principle allowed? Because the states live in the state of nature. There is no way. Basically, there is no way out of the state of nature, because to that we should introduce a universal state that would dismantle the state. So if you have this conceptual framework, then the states live in the state of nature. And in the state of nature, it's impossible, according to Kant, to speak about right or wrong. So everyone is justified and not justified to wage war. And it is very difficult then to conceptually delimit the concept of international war, of the war that of the international law, of the law that still holds in war. And I think that here the concept of unjust enemy comes in. There is only one limit in general that says that the war should be waged in a way not to prevent the possibility of peace, something like that. But this is very general formulation, and you need something more. I think that you need this unjust enemy, and you described it, I think, to constitute the unity of those who abide by the rules of war. So you have to put a distance and constitute an organization, a unity of states that recognize each other against the one. So formation of unity by exclusion of that one. And this is why you need the unjust enemy. The problem is only that if we follow, let's say, Kant's description, then everyone can be declared unjust enemy.
Yes, okay, yes.
And this is...
You explain everything, yeah, that's it. But it's not, well, potentially yes, and so what? Everyone could be unjust enemy, well. But if the consensus is most important, that we have to arrange, we have to name who is it. In that case, no problems.
Okay, I still see it, but okay, never mind.
If we are together decided who is the enemy, if we have, you know...
How to distinguish between freedom fighter and terrorist?
Between, sorry?
Freedom fighter and terrorist, because this is the usual comparison.
You know,
okay, but let us make another, because this was a conceptual. The other one is empirical question. Why Serbia?
Why?
Serbia, Justus, hostis in Justus.
No, it was the moment as such. You know, this is moment. This is kairos, you can say. This is moment where it was important, necessary to intervene. Moment. I will not, you know, we can talk about results, repercussions, consequences, etc., etc. But this is a different story. Sometimes, you know, it was like this in the question of Serbia. But you know, where is the problem? We are reading bad texts. It's necessary to read Gentili, not to read Schmidt, because in Gentili we have pages and pages about the enemy, about characteristics of different kind of enemies, etc. Exist, you know, in Oxford edition of public law, all of them is translated, bilingual edition, very beautiful, and well, that's why this is small advice to Hector, yeah, Gentili, not Schmidt. Thank you.
Thank you very much.